Hey everyone, Kirk here, and welcome back to the Geek Effect. In today's video, I'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends series, Death Dealer from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, last week I took a look at Wenwu from the same figure line, and it was a pretty interesting figure in my opinion. Despite a few issues I had with the articulation and that sort of thing when it came to posability, it was a pretty decent figure, and so with that being said, I am looking forward to getting this one unboxed and seeing what all it has to offer. It looks like a pretty decent figure, and definitely looks like it captures the look of Death Dealer from the movie very well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with the packaging, you're greeted with the Marvel Legends series logo, along with the Shang-Chi movie logo at the bottom, and then the name of the character, which in this case, it's Death Dealer. Flipping the box around to the side, you do get a nice shot of Death Dealer with some concept art, which looks nice. The cool thing about these boxes with the Marvel Legends series, especially this sort of packaging, is that when you have the concept art on the side of the character, when you have them side by side on a shelf, something like that, they look really nice together and has a nice sort of display look to it. You also have the emblem for Shang-Chi's outfit right here at the bottom, and the same thing at the top, along with the info on the Build-A-Figure wave, which is for Marvel's Mr. Hyde. Flipping the box around to the back, you are going to see another image of the Death Dealer, which is the exact same image on the side, but just more complete. So you do see him with one of his weapons in his hands, and a bit more of his outfit, and some other details which look nice. It also gives you a bit of info on the character, which states that Death Dealer is one of the most formidable opponents Shang-Chi has ever faced. The bio is a bit underwhelming, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, at the same time though, when you do see the movie, there isn't a whole lot of action from this character. He's kind of there for a bit, and then you see him again towards the end, and then that's it, without spoiling anything. If you guys have not seen the movie, definitely do go ahead and watch it. It is on Disney Plus, and I would recommend giving it a watch. Now, at the bottom, you do have info again for the Build-A-Figure wave for Marvel's Mr. Hyde, which shows the figure and the numbers that tell you which part comes with which figure in this series. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get this figure open so we can get a closer look at Death Dealer. Alright, so here is Death Dealer out of the box, and this looks like a pretty solid looking figure in my opinion. The sculpting, just like taking it out of the box and taking a look at it from afar, does look pretty nice, and a lot of the tones and the colors and stuff do seem to match the character very well from the movie. Now, in comparison to the figures like Shang-Chi and Wenwu, I will say that this is probably in the middle of both of those characters when it comes to detail and the sculpting and everything like that, just from taking a good look at it right now. And the reason I say that is because with the Shang-Chi figure, there isn't a whole lot to really add to the character. The suit is pretty basic in my opinion, and you know, he doesn't have much detail to go into things like the pants and the legs and everything like that. But when it comes to Wenwu, he has a bit more detail because of the padding and everything that he had on in his Legends figure. With this one, you kind of get the best of both worlds. There's like a bit of simplification going on in this outfit, but you do get the sculpting where it's necessary, and he has like, you know, a cloth sort of outfit on and everything like that. So it works, and it does a pretty good job at it too. Moving up closer, we get a look at the head sculpt, which I am very impressed with. I think that Hasbro really nailed the look of this character, especially with the face paint area where you can see the reds and the blacks and then the white, and it all just comes together to bring the figure to life and look as accurate as possible. I really love how that turned out. Then you also have some texturization on the mask area as well that looks pretty accurate. I don't have any complaints there, but I do love the attention to detail when it came to the mask opening for the eyes and everything, because you can see this black trim going all around, which they could have, you know, easily just said, let's just leave it blue, let's not worry about painting that, but they did decide to paint that, and I'm glad that they had that attention to detail, decided not to, you know, halfway do it, but just put that commitment there, and you can definitely see that they did. Moving to the back area, you can see some more of the texturization with the mask, so that looks nice. And then you have the ponytail that the character is known to have in the movie, which the hair sculpt on that is pretty decent. It's nothing too fancy, nothing elaborate, but it does do the job, and it is rubber as well, so you can kind of move it, and if you were to add some heat to it, you could potentially pose it a bit if you want to take some pictures. Maybe he's jumping in the air and having some motion to the hair would do the trick, definitely for this figure, but it isn't necessary at all, but I guess it could be an option if you were to go for that, take some photos of it. You also have the hairband right here in a dark red color just like in the movie, so that is a nice detail to have on this character. Moving down towards the chest area is where you get some more detail. Starting in the neck area, you can see a bit of the sculpting around the neck, and then some more of the inner clothing on the inside. You can see some of that there, which looks nice. And the pattern texture that they have going on here for the outfit is very nice. You can see the individual rectangles along with the wrinkles and stuff that just add some variety and personality to the outfit that he's wearing, especially towards the back where it has this bunched up sort of look because of the belt. And so I love that they did that instead of just having it look more random. Like, you can tell that the outfit is sort of gathering behind him because of the belt. And so that's nice. You also have some more wrinkles going on here, and then more of the pattern of the outfit as well. Another thing is that the forearm areas have some more sculpting, which the sculpt work on these parts are very nice. You can see the textures on the padding and the sort of guards, I guess these are, for his arms. Those look nice, along with the red ribbons, which those have a rubber texture to it as well. So they do have some sort of movement. It's not something that is meant to, I guess, be moved, but it's nice to have that there. You also have some more texture in the hands with the padding for his gloves, so those look good as well. And that's kind of it for the texture in the hands and the forearms. There isn't much else to say about it. One thing I will add is that this does suffer from the issue I had with the Wenwu figure, where basically the arms are not pinless. I, again, do feel like since they have the ability to make pinless joints when it comes to Marvel Legends figures now, they should definitely take the advantage when it comes to that. Just because, like I said, with Wenwu, the rings were having a gap at the bottom, like the fifth ring, or however order you would be counting it. One of the rings had a gap near the joint because of the pin, and this is the same case with this figure. If they decided to go pinless, it definitely would eliminate that issue, and that would be seamless, and it just would have really improved upon the detail of this character. But again, it's not a big deal. It's just one of those things I think they should take note of. The belt detail is also nice. You can see the same 10 rings logo that was on Wenwu's outfit, but this one has a bit of style to it because it's got that shine, which looks nice. The paint job that provides that sort of shiny look to it is nice. I mean, you get that in some good lighting, I'm sure it could do a pretty good job. And then you also have the strap, or the band for the belt, with some more sculpting on the side right here. And same thing on this side, which looks nice. The only complaint I have here is that if you look at the paint job on this end, it's more complete. There isn't much of an issue here, but it's when you flip around to this end where the paint sort of has an issue here. That's just, one of the things that tends to happen with Legends figures, where the paint does not go all the way where it needs to go. So you do see a bit of blue along this edge and then along there, but again, it's just something that kind of happens. Along the back side, you have some more sculpting, which I do love these knife details right here, where it's in the back of his holster for his belt. So those look cool. Moving down towards the bottom, you have some more of the pattern for his outfit, along with that trim area in the burnt orange sort of color. And then when you lift this area up, you can see the flap on the inside has a red going on the inside right there, and same thing over here. You have all that red on the inside, and that looks nice. Moving down towards the legs, you have some more detail as well. Nothing too much at the thigh area, but it does look pretty nice. And then it's the same thing over here with this leg, but it does get kind of covered up because of the cloth. But if you kind of bend that in, you can see some more of that area, and I think they did a good job of it. When you look at the knee area, I think this is where some more of the sculpting does show, because you have the knee pads and the sculpting on that looks nice. Same thing on this leg. Moving down toward the calf area, you have some more sculpting with the boot area, and then the paint job on this is pretty basic. It's all black for the most part, besides the red sort of design that's right here. I don't know what that's there for, but it's there. I can't remember seeing that in the movie. I'm sure if I was to go back then I would know, but that is a nice detail to have there, along with the sculpting in the boots, which definitely does help bring that to life. When it comes to accessories, this figure does not have a whole lot if you were comparing it to say Wenwu or Shang-Chi, where they have like 4 hands in their packs along with a weapon, and this is not the case for this figure. It just comes with 2 different hands for swapping out. The first one having a gripped sort of position as if you're getting ready to throw the knife, and that looks pretty cool. And then the other hand has the fingers spread apart as if they are throwing the 2 knives. So that's a nice hand, and the sculpting on both of those are pretty nice. I do like this piece right here with the hand with the throwing knives, because you have the translucent sort of rubber right here, where if you were to take a photo of this, you could definitely edit that out and have that look like they're moving on their own. So that would be a cool thing to attempt. I'm definitely going to try that out with one of the photos that I take after this review, but definitely nothing to be disappointed about here. And you could easily swap these out, as always, by just pulling out the hands that come on the figure, and those just pop right out. And you could take this one and put it in this hand or this arm, and it looks nice. Like, you can definitely get some good poses out of here, and I do love how that looks on the figure. Same thing with the other hand. If you pull that out and then you just pop the fisted hand right in, and that has a cool pose to it as well. So you could reenact the scene where he's throwing the knife at Shang-Chi while they're fighting in that top of the building. That would be a cool scene to recreate. We'll definitely see how that goes. As I mentioned earlier, this figure is a part of a Build-A-Figure wave, which is for Marvel's Mr. Hyde. So this one comes with the other arm for the characters. So this now leaves me with 2 arms and 1 leg, and also a cane right now if I wanted to complete the figure, which I still have not decided on if I do. If I do, it means I'm going to also have to get Shang-Chi's sister and the 2 other characters that are not a part of Shang-Chi the movie, but just a part of the Build-A-Figure wave in general. When it comes to the articulation in this figure, it is a bit limited. It's a bit restricted if you were comparing it to Wenwu, or if you were comparing it to Shang-Chi. Like I said, with Wenwu, parts of him were a bit restricting, which was a bit of a disappointment, but at the same time, he was still able to have movement. This one definitely does not get that treatment. You have some movement in the head sculpt, so you can rotate it 360 degrees, and you can move this back some just as far as that, and then you can move it all the way in, and that's because they did change the joint that they chose to go with, which this one uses a hinge, whereas when it came to Wenwu and Shang-Chi, those had concealed necks, and it was just the ball joint on each end, one going into the neck and the other going into the head. You do get the standard articulation you'd expect, the rotation in the shoulder area on both arms, and then those can also move up. And same thing with this arm, right about there, it's where it stops. You can kind of get it a bit up due to some flex in the outfit piece right here, but then you can also move it down and rotate these parts right here. When it comes to the elbow joint, though, I feel like it could go a bit further in. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but this, it feels like it could go a bit further in, but that's as far as it goes. Same thing with this arm. And then you also have the usual articulation in the wrist area. So that rotates 360 degrees, and then you have some angling right there, and it can go that far back. And then same thing with this wrist, where that can go in and then out like that. Down towards the waist area, there is 0 articulation here, which is a bit of a disappointment. I get why that's the case due to the cloth piece that they have going on here, which, I mean, isn't actual cloth, it's rubber, but for the outfit, the way it's designed, you're not able to get any of that sort of movement in the waist, which is a bit disappointing. And there is no ab crunch going on here, so the only movement for him to bend down is through the leg area, and that's the only sort of articulation you're going to be getting for him to bend down or anything like that. You do have the usual leg articulation where that can rotate 360 degrees. Same thing with this arm. If we move this out the way, you can see that rotation there. And the knee joint does actually have some good bending in it. You can get that far in like that and then out like that. Moving down towards the ankle joint, you have some movement in the ankle where that can move from side to side. I do feel like this one isn't doing it as much. At some points, I kind of get a bit scared because I'm like, I don't want to break it because it does feel like it's not moving as freely as I would like it to, or as I'm used to with the other figures that I've been looking at. And that's just kind of how it's been. But you can also angle the foot inward and then a bit outward as well. Same thing with the other leg, where that's inward, and then you can move it outward as well. Now, although the articulation does leave a bit to desire, in my opinion, you can get some decent poses out of it because I was playing with it off screen for a bit just to get a feel for it, and I was able to get some nice looking poses. You just got to put in the work to be able to get it done, and once you're finished with it, you can get some nice poses, some nice photos, and especially if you're setting up a sort of diorama, if that's the sort of thing you're into, you can get some good posability and action sequences between characters that do look pretty decent. So although articulation, like I said, for me was a bit disappointing, I was not disappointed when it came to its posability as a figure. So overall, I'm rather satisfied with how the Legends Death Dealer figure turned out. I love the attention to detail and how close they were able to get it to looking like the actual character, and the paint job on it is pretty good too. I love the vibrancy in the colors and everything like that. They look pretty close to what you see in the movie, and it definitely does not disappoint in that area. Not being able to have the ab crunch or any, waist movement in the joint was a bit disappointing. I think that they could have possibly had some sort of hip movement. Even if it wasn't able to rotate all the way, it still could have been in the waist and have him be able to turn somehow. But maybe if, they were to go back and make a figure like this later down the line, they could always attempt it again. Now, if I was comparing this to the Wenwu and the Shang-Chi figure, based on taking a look at those guys and posing them and taking photos and stuff, I can definitely say that this is probably my second favorite figure in the wave. The first going to Wenwu, of course, because I just love the amount of detail on that figure and how accurate it looks. I would wish that Shang-Chi was at the top, but I just feel like the outfit is pretty basic and pretty simple, so it doesn't leave me, liking that figure much more than Wenwu. Plus, Wenwu is just a pretty cool character in the movie, so I think I'm kind of biased when it comes to that. I hope you all enjoyed this review. I am looking forward to the coming days, though, because not only are we getting Spider-Man No Way Home next week, just 10 days away, and I could not be more excited for that and just being able to see that movie in theaters and everything like that. I am going opening night, so that's something to look forward to. But I also have a bunch of the Spider-Man retro carded figures waiting to be reviewed, and they've been sitting there for some time, along with the recent Hasbro PostCon 2021 exclusive of Venom. I can finally get to opening those up now that I have finished with the Shang-Chi reviews, at least for now, because I am aware that Shang-Chi, the sister, does have a figure, and there also is the Target exclusive of Katie, I believe. I believe it's a Target exclusive for Katie that comes with Morris and some accessories for the character. So eventually I will try and get my hands on those two figures if possible and make reviews on those. But I cannot wait to get my hands on those Spider-Man figures and just have them posed and take photos and everything like that, especially between Spider-Man and between Venom, and having them have a sort of action sequence going on. It's going to be very exciting for me in the coming days as I make these videos and post them here on the channel. But with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to go ahead and give it a like if you guys did, and share it if you guys know someone who also likes this sort of content, loves action figures and collecting and that sort of thing. I'll catch you all later. Peace out.